some of the other routes that are short, powerful, big moves, not my style, things I struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
Doing more climbs like that, even though they might not technically be as hard on like the scale of this is this grade and this is this grade,
Mm-hmm.
taking what's your personal grade.
How do you train to climb mountains?
Most people train. I've tried training, and I feel like it gets my expectations so high because I work so hard to train that then when I finally like get to the place that I was like training for, I usually do really bad, like really bad. So I take an entirely different route that most climbers don't take. They train. I don't train. I like to just climb as much as possible. In the winters, I really like to boulder, which I kind of consider my training because I'm not very good at power climbing. I'm good at like the long, balancy, technical climbs. So when I'm bouldering, it's kind of like training. Right now,
And
we've been stuck in Utah, so we're trying the training thing.
That's funny. So the border, like, what is that exactly? I'm not too
Oh,
familiar.
bouldering?
Yeah,
Um,
bordering.
so it's like small rocks that could be tall. I don't do the tall ones. I like the low balls. So like no ropes, no harness, just your climbing shoes, and you'll have pads under you. And it tends to be not very many moves and usually pretty hard moves, which is why it's nice in the winter when it's cold because you're only doing maybe like 15 moves at a time, and then you get to get off the boulder.
I like bouldering too for that similar reason, in that like it's super powerful, and like it does, I feel like I get a lot of fitness from bouldering, but it definitely, you're moving differently on top rope. You just are like I feel like anyways. But I didn't start to really see improvement when I was just top roping. I only started seeing it when I was like bouldering for like a long period of time.
It's easier, I think, to push yourself when you only have a small number of moves versus
Yeah.
this long climb, and there's a lot to remember, a lot to go on, a lot of different techniques. But when you're like focused on like maybe an 8 foot tall boulder,
Right.
like it's a lot easier to just be like, okay, I just have to do these 6 moves.
Right. Again and again and again.
And again.
Yeah. So like, I know you were talking about going to Wyoming and traveling a lot. So like, what does your year look like as far as where you are living? You're still traveling around. I mean, COVID right now, but like in a normal year that's not COVID.
Yeah, so usually we try and be in places for like 3 to 4 months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like just kind of showing up, climbing, real quick and then like moving on. But not having the trailer has kind of switched our mindsets a little, where we're like, well, let's go see this place and see if we like it. And let's go see this place and see if we like it. But, if you're trying to find like a project, something that's really hard for you and is going to sometimes take 3-4 weeks or 3 or 4 years, you're going to have to spend more time in each place. And a couple of places we go to, the climbing style there is so unique that it's pretty hard to train for it. So even though we've been going to this one place in Idaho for so many years, every time we get there, our new warm-ups are like our or our new projects or our old warm-ups because we're so out of shape for the area
Yeah.
that every time we go, it's, it's new all over again. So we get to like retrain while we're there. Um, so it takes about 3-4 weeks to really start like being able to try some of the harder climbs there.
Mhm.
So it's hard to like only spend a week or two. Um, but there's just so many places and there's a lot more people now. So, if we want to find new places to develop, we've got to go more places. And sometimes, you get somewhere that you thought was going to be really cool or the rock looked really good from the ground and then it's bad. You just kind of have to be like, well, on to the next one.
So you're trying for a lot of first ascents now, or like what's your goals?
So I think next summer, we want to get back into bolting. We haven't done a ton of bolting. We did get a few first ascents this year,
Mm-hmm.
but they were developed by other people that had just been like, like we don't care, or they were like abandoned projects from years ago. Um, but it's really special when you get to start a route from start to finish by cleaning the rock, putting the bolts in, all that. But it is nice when they're all already there. Takes away from a lot of the work. But yeah, I think next year we definitely would like to get back into developing some new areas.
And how do you like find these places? Do you like close your eyes, put a finger on a map, or do you like someone told me this would be good, that a place we haven't checked out?
A lot of times it's, friends are like, hey, we've been bolting here, do you want to come help? Or, we were climbing in this one area and like across the way, like looks like really good rock. Like, have you checked it out? And we'll be like, no. So we'll go check it out. Or, you know, just driving from like one destination to another. You're like, ooh, what's over there? And then now not having the trailer, we have the opportunity to get off the highway and go look at that rock. Um, but yeah, a lot of it's usually just driving by and then hiking out to it and seeing what it's like.
Are these like places that have like restrictions, or like if someone wanted to find a place to hike and was driving and saw it on the side of the road, how would they know that's a place I can hike?
Sure. We'll have to Google a lot of things because sometimes it's restricted areas, no hiking or no dogs or no bolting is a thing. There will be bolting bans in certain areas. A lot of times there's signs that will, if something's not allowed, it will usually be noticed. And if you're that far out in the middle of nowhere and there's not a sign, typically there's no one there that enforce it. But
Mhm.
we'll find the area that we're going to and pull out maps and pull out the history of the area, make sure it's not like sacred ground or like if there's eagles, a lot of times there'll be like eagle closures for certain birds and stuff like that. So um, the internet's
That's
usually
a,
good.
Have you run into any issues?
Well, there's the bolting ban going on in Wyoming right now that started last year, maybe the year before.
Mhm.
Um, Basically, there was a war going on based on certain ethics of climbing. Some climbers, everyone's ethics are a little bit different. There's obviously like the start of the history of climbing where, no chipping, no bolts. That's, why people tried climbed. The pure, cleanness of not damaging anything in the area. But, we've adapted, people have grown in the style of climbing. And with kind of the feud that was going on in Wyoming, routes were destroyed, bolts were chopped, holes were filled in. The Forest Service had to step in, and right now there is a bolting ban in the Bighorn National Forest, I think it is, most of Wyoming and a bit into Montana. Um, we can still have permission to replace bad gear. You just have to go through the right chain of command to get permission. But right now in that national forest, no new routes are allowed to go up. So what's there is there, and that's all that will be until it's sorted. And it's not for permanent, hopefully, but right now, yeah, like you can't do any new developing in that particular area.
I think representation is important. Like, definitely you doing what you're doing is also hugely important. So it's good that you have like a social outlet that you're also like posting these really hard like routes that you're doing. Um, is there something, like, I know I just asked you about your goals and you told me, but like, is there something that like you kind of have like dreamt about like doing, like something that's like a particular route or a particular style of climb that you're kind of like, I think I want to do this?
Um, in the past, I probably would have had an answer for
Yeah.
that, but it's funny as I get older, not so much. Like, it used to be pushing grades. Like, I want to climb 514. I did that, and I did it for the first time a couple years ago, but this one was definitely meant more
Mm-hmm.
than my first one. Um, but I think it's more of just pushing the boundaries of things that aren't easy for me. Again, the longer routes that are more, balancy and technical, I obviously do pretty quickly. But some of the other routes that are short, powerful, big moves, not my style, things I struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
Doing more climbs like that, even though they might not technically be as hard on like the scale of this is this grade and this is this grade,
Mm-hmm.
taking what's your personal grade, like I know that this one was only 512, but I mean it was big jump dinos after dinos, and I don't dino well. A lot of times I'm like, all right, I'm gonna jump, and then I don't go anywhere. I don't even let go. Dino is hard for me, and so, like, as I get older, my views of, pushing the boundaries isn't necessarily like pushing grades. It's pushing things just that aren't easy for me, that don't come naturally. Yeah.
Have you ever climbed internationally?
No,
No.
no. I mean, I guess Canada, but it's not. It's kind of like part of us. Um, but yeah, it'd be fun to go international, but
Mhm.
there's so much rock here that it's so easy to stay in the States.
True. There's so many places to go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, taking your dogs internationally is a lot more complicated. And if I can't take them, I don't really want to go.
Very valid. Very valid. Do you
People,
have two dogs that you climb with?
yeah, we have two. Cypress, who Jackie, I'm sure, has met, he's almost 13.
Wow.
And he's still doing really well. And then we have Poncho, and he's 4. So, yeah, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, have you gone to climb here, climb there?" And there'll be like dog restrictions because it's like a national park or something like that. And we're like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, why not?" I'm like, "Because we can't take the dogs. It's not as fun without them."
Right? Dogs make everything great.
So,
No, it's good. Um, so I thought maybe it would be good to explain what a dyno is.
oh,
And
sure.
yeah, there was a couple other terms and I was like, oh shoot, I should have wrote them down.
All right. So dynoing is you're on the rock. Usually it's from a really big hold to another big hold, um, And basically you just grab the good hold and push with your feet, and you launch up to the next one, and usually there's nothing on the rock while you're jumping through, and then you grab the next hold and hopefully you stick it.
That sounds very frightening.
I'm not very good at it. It's so hard. It seems so simple in your head, but when you go to do it, nothing happens.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. I can grab some bad hold and another bad hold and then finally get to the good hold. But a lot of times it's a lot more moves instead of just jumping. So I try to be better at just jumping.